garage.
We're on the first done trip, and we just got into Vegas, and we're staying at some like Motel 6 or something. It was like right across the street from the Hard Rock. It's the start of the trip, everyone wants to go out, and I am 20, so I'm underage. I had like FOMO, just like fear of missing out. Like Rod from Kansas City was there, but he was on the start of what would become a pretty epic sober streak. He looked enough like me to where he gave me his ID. He had also mentioned like, hey, you know, we're starting this long trip, don't lose my ID. Whatever you do, just don't lose it. And so we went out the first night. I mean, we were just walking through casinos. I wasn't really showing my ID that much, so I kind of like had a lot of confidence, like, oh, we're good, you know? Like second night, have a bunch of confidence. It worked the first night. I think we're like at some bar at the Hard Rock. Ernie goes up to order a bunch of drinks, and I'm like the first one there when they ask for the IDs. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, you know, I got you, yeah. Looks at it and nope, not you. So I'm just like, what do you mean? You know, like it's totally me. What do you, that's my ID, you know? So he's like, all right, I'll just see what security thinks. So he goes behind the bar, sets it down, goes to the phone, and I'm starting to freak out. Like, okay, one, I was just really sketched out about getting the security called at Vegas. I thought that would be a big deal. Two, I just lost Rod's ID on like the start of this trip. I'm like kind of freaking out, and Ernie's like, dude, it's all good. Just start walking, like just leave. You gotta get out of here, just start walking. I'm like, what, I gotta get the ID, you know, I'm freaking out. He's like, just walk out. So I'm like, all right, whatever, fine. So I just leave. I'm like walking to the exit of the Hard Rock. I get to the doors, and all of a sudden I hear behind me, run, just go. And I'm like, whoa, what? So I'm like going, and Ernie's running behind me. He's like, run, go. And we're like, oh my God. So we just start running out of the exit, and we have to cross the street to get to our hotel. So like running, and he's just like, don't look for cars, just go. Just go. So I'm like, all right, fine. So we're like running, and we make it across the street. We like run up, go into our room, shut the door. We're like, oh my God, that was insane. He's like, dude, I got the idea, here you go. Oh, here's the beer that I ordered you. And just hands me the beer, and he brought his beer too, so it was like pretty amazing. Went under the bar, grabbed the ID. He said once he grabbed the ID, the person on the phone was like, hey, and like got scared. He was like, that guy. So he grabbed the ID, grabbed the 2 beers, started running with security chasing him. It was pretty epic. This was another time in Vegas, of course. I think we had like been out all night. We were like really hooked on Irish car bombs on that trip. It was like 3 in the morning. Someone's like, oh, we didn't do a car bomb tonight, dude. Like, let's do one. And we're like popping in every casino, like, can you guys make car bombs? You know, like no one had Guinness on tap. I think we like find a place, we do it. We're like, all right, cool. Like, so we're like walking back, and there was like the red velvet ropes. There was like 3 of them in a row. And Jake is like, but I can jump all 3 of those. And I think Robbie was like, yeah, right, you can. I'll give you $10 if you do it. And he's like, deal. She like runs back, goes for it, fully jumps, clips the last one, thing falls over, super loud. It was like record stops at a party, and everyone's like, you know what? You know, like the old lady at the slot machine is just kind of like, what's going on? We just like went to Starbucks or something, and I think everyone had been calling me Torgy or something. And it was just like, oh God, like my first real trip, and everyone's calling me Torgy, like great. We're like leaving the Starbucks, walking through the parking lot, and Gabe Morph says, hey, David, you know, like go grab your board. And I just kind of was like, oh, you know, my name's Davis, you know, like really just scared to like talk back to Morph. And so he just goes, David, Torgy, pick one. Ever since then, I was pretty intimidated by Morph. I just have like really squinty eyes or something. I don't know. I feel like at like demos and signings, like so many kids are like, hey, dude, you look so stoned right now. Like they get all psyched, and I'm just like, no. Just like 8 months ago, I hurt my wrist. I'd never broken my wrist. I've hurt it, and I was like, oh my God, I did it. I broke my wrist, guys, I did it. I swear I did it. I went and got x-rays, and they're like, we don't see anything. All right, like that's good news. Time was going on, and it was like kind of getting better, but I would like re-injure it. Then I slammed on it super hard, and it was like worse than it was. So then I went and got x-rays again, and they're like, oh yeah, you have a broken scaphoid. Have to put a screw in it, do surgery. And I'm just starting to roll around again from that. I still got my cast on, get in this little park. I go to back 180 into a little bank. Foot slips off the board and like lands crooked. Like felt a pop in my foot. So I went and got an x-ray. It's the same person. He's like, yeah, it's like fully cracked. So I go see the specialist, and it's what's called a Jones fracture, and you have to put a screw in it to fix it. Because there's 2 bones in your body that are finicky with healing. It's your scaphoid, and it's a Jones fracture. 2 surgeries in 2 months. I'd never had a cast before the wrist one, so I had a wrist one and a foot one. And I was like, time to drink milk. Mikey and I went down to San Diego with this guy, Josh Landon. Like, yeah, let's go skate San Diego. So we like, me, Mikey, and Josh drove in Mikey's car down there. Whoa. So we skate that weekend, and we're driving back up to Mikey's place, and they're just like going back and forth about these ideas about a brewery. They're like coming out with names, and they're like thinking about all these ways to like market it, and like, but I'm just like, this is so funny, yeah, that's like great, you know, whatever. So I was like, all right, later guys, it was a good talk, whatever. And like 2 weeks later, Mikey's like, hey, did you know that we're gonna do that brewery idea? Like, we're doing it. And I was like, you're like actually gonna do it? It's like, yeah, we're actually gonna do a brewery. I was like, can I get in, but not pay any money? Still waiting to hear back from them on that.
Like I even go skate nowadays and I like look at things and I'm like, should I front nose? And I'm like, I don't even need to do it.
Pour tons of gas on everything to get it going. I'm not a fucking Boy Scout lighting shit with a little